Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
I can't believe it's December. Like I thought we were just doing World Series streams, and now we've got Elf on the Shelf, we've got Christmas trees, we've got everything happening. And I listen, I love this time of year. I do. But people are like, oh, baseball's over, so you must get to relax. No, there is nothing relaxing about this time of year. It's like baseball season ends, but then the holiday season begins. There's so much pressure to perform in terms of life. You have to perform for your job for like 9 months, and then you go into the off season. Now you have to like perform as a person.
But yeah, that's what do you want to do? Like talk ball, the responsibilities that come along with that. No problem. No fucking problem.
Sure.
But you want me to absolutely slam dunk a massive meal like Thanksgiving, and then I got to turn around and slam dunk another massive meal like Christmas dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to do hosting events, right? You got to show up and be on at some other parties and shit like that. And you said it. And I'm gonna say it right now. I just told Jay Hay this, and I'm gonna tell you listeners, if you have not reached this point in your life, please take it from the tattered war veteran here. All right? If Elf on the Shelf is a conversation you can have before that little motherfucker shows up, have it with your significant other and do whatever you need to do to beat them into submission and to understanding that that is something that could very well drive a wedge between you and your happily married significant other. It will bring your marriage to an end, to a halt, at least for the next 25 days, 35. Don't do it. Don't do it. I found myself last night after a lovely moment shared between my wife and I'll say, immediately stressing about where the fucking elf was going to go. You know where you can take that elf? You can shove it right up your ass. I don't go stuff it in a stocking. I don't care what you fucking do with it, but I'm not fucking doing it. I feel like I go on this rant every year. Just save yourself. Protect yourself. I didn't grow up with a fucking elf. Jared grew up an elf, but he did not have an elf on his. Sorry, unnecessary. Apologies. I was feeling it. Jay Hay didn't grow up with a fucking elf. None of us. You don't have to do this. Don't do it to yourself, is what I'm getting at. And don't do it to your child. Please. Be okay with bringing it to an end. Let it stop here. Traditions, they're great to start. They're also fantastic to fucking decapitate.
Yeah, I feel like I'm starting a tradition that's going to be irreversible, and I don't know how I feel about it. So we're doing, I can't remember if I said this on the show or not. We're hosting the day after Christmas. Yeah. So everyone, obviously, they guard their traditions. So it's like, I don't want to give up Thanksgiving, or we always do Christmas Eve here. So I was like, all right, because everyone's like, you have to have a housewarming party. I'm like, I've been in this house for 3 years. Like, I think the ship has sailed on housewarming party. So like, I have a lot of family that hasn't seen my house, but it's like, what are you going to do? Like, just come over to hang out? Like, we're not like a come over, hang out kind of like family, I guess. So I'm like, all right, well, we'll have Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas. So we're going to have family here, and it's going to be a lot of their like first time ever seeing the house. So it's a lot. The holiday season, it is not, once you get to being an adult, you got to have a warrior spirit. You absolutely have to.
And that's why it's important to establish those traditions, because it enables you to anchor yourself, right? This is not a fucking fluid holiday situation. Fluid for you, as in feel free to come over, feel free to leave. I'm staying here. This is where I will be.
Yeah.
So I'll see you when I see you. I hope you get the fucking greeting card on time. If not, blame the postal service, not me. There's just several things that are out of my hands. One thing that is definitely in my control, though, is where I'm putting my feet up on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day. And I might be able to entertain something of the day after. I mean, do you have is there going to be is there an expected gift exchange? Is there like an expected meal? Is this just are we going to play games? Like, what are we going to do? Are we going to shoot BBs at the neighbor's, the neighbor's bird feeder? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's that part. I haven't gotten that far ahead. Like, I'm just trying to get through today, Dallas, like I got to get through today. It's Cyber Monday. Then tomorrow we got this, thing at Providence College. There's a whole lot. Like, so we just planned a vacation, not a vacation, like a getaway. We're going to North Conway, like after, like when the kids are on school vacation, and Train's like, "Are you excited?" And I'm like, I have so many things that I need to like mentally get through before I can even think about that trip. So yeah, that's the thing right before the trip. It's the day before, I want to say. So yeah, we're gonna have to brainstorm how to entertain, I guess.
Mm-hmm. May I recommend Family Feud?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah,
alcohol and Family
Someone else
Feud.
is going to have to host, but I would recommend it as a concept.
You might be around on the 26th. What are you doing?
I will be in Massachusetts, actually. I'll be in Melrose. So
that's what I'm saying. You're right down the street.
Yeah, maybe I could pop over to host Feud now that we're talking it out.
Yeah, bring the family.
See,
maybe it'll be our family against your family.
Wow. Wow. I'll tell you what, I know my side of the family is very down. Without even talking to them. So we're all psychos for competition. So yeah,
I was going to say,
they're just
tribe of those fucking long-haired nerds showing up, just ready to fire off random information at request. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Jared, I will say better luck next year already if that's how that's gonna shake out.
I'm not anticipating a win. I just hope we get out alive. I just hope we get out of it without the cops being called. Yeah,
I think that's everybody.
Sure. Yeah. Anyways, the Underdog Fantasy app, huh? Yeah, it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats. Mix and match across your other favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. Sign up with the promo code Jared, Jared, to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Jared.
How about them Cowboys? I knew you were going to get to it, Jared. Yes, the Cowboys, very successful.
I saw
on
Post
Thanksgiving Day.
Post Malone did the halftime show.
Yeah.
Did you see the video of him in the cute little girl? It was funny. It was like this cute little girl. She's probably like 5 or 6. Went up to Post Malone, and she was like, "Hey, you're my biggest fan." And he was like, "I am." Yeah, he's great. I've never seen a bad fan interaction with Post Malone. Love or hate his music. Great guy.
Yeah, he seems very genuine. Seems very genuine, very connectable with his fans.
Would you say Dak Prescott ended Pat Mahomes in the Chiefs season?
Some are saying, I mean, those are the whispers. Those are the whispers. And some are also whispering that could have very well put the Dallas Cowboys on an absolute fucking warpath.
Yeah.
I mean, you take care of the fucking birds the week before. You fucking stick a spear in the Chiefs on Thanksgiving Day. Come on. Yeah. Look the fuck out.
Woo. Yeah. Fuck yeah. The Cowboys.
Yeah, it might have been Turkey Day, Jared, but it was lamb that was eaten up. It was lamb that was getting down. Baby.
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Not a bad game at all for the boys.
Got it. Yep. Jay, hey, how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was great. I spent 4 straight days over at my parents' with my family, and we just sat around and ate and watched football and played Sorry and went for walks and all that shit. Sorry is a multi-generational game for the Havens Hummer family. And yeah, we take it pretty seriously. If you win, you get to sign the inside of the box.
Wow.
So we have signatures going back 20 plus years on this, on the one box.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
I believe my Nana, who is no longer with us and hasn't been with us since 2009, is her signature is on the box that we play with.
Love that.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. But yeah, it was good. Nothing outrageous, but just a good solid Thanksgiving.
So sorry, was there any other games? Because sorry, my grandmother, who worships the ground that these three little angels of mine walk on, had no problem calling them both brats, like to their face. Don't be a brat. You're being a brat. Like, and I was like that's the most aggressive thing she's ever said to either. Like, I was like, hey, the fuck are you, lady? Like, what are you?
Count your spaces correctly. You get a 10, you can't move 10. You are moving back 1. These are the rules. So I brought up Family Feud. That is generally a Christmas game for us. So that we did not play that at Thanksgiving, in part because my brother's family did not come down from Boston because one of the little kids got sick. But no, it was mostly just sorry. Cooking, yeah, all the classic notes we hit for Thanksgiving this year.
Love it.
Man, the restraint that I'm showing right now to talk about my family.
Oh, in what way?
In a way where I'm showing restraint. That's all.
Hey, look, we all love differently, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that it means any more or any less. We just love differently.
Sure. Yep. That's one way to look at it, for sure. Looks like Dylan Cease loves him some Toronto, Canada, huh?
Bread it up, chicken titties.
Oh yeah. To tie back to a previous episode, I got the notification that this signing had happened just as I nestled into my chair to see Wicked 2 last week. And my confession there, I didn't know that Wicked had anything to do with The Wizard of Oz. I gathered that in the opening scene. I was like, all right, cool. This is cool. I'm into it. But otherwise, didn't know that there was a connection.
What the fuck? How do
That's
you not
what I said
know
when I saw Dylan Cease's contract. I said, what the fuck? 7 years, $210 million. I feel like there's two sides of the fence here. And it's definitely not a 50-50 split. I think there's more people on the what an awful contract, blah, blah, blah. I was on the side of the fence where it was like, oh, all right, like the Blue Jays got within 2 outs of winning the World Series in Game 7 and aggressively pursued a frontline starting pitcher immediately after when the postseason. Immediately after the postseason ended and the offseason began, they threw out $210 million to Dylan Cease. Like, you could say, based on watching Dylan Cease this past year, is that a $210 million pitcher? Fine. You want to have that discussion? We can get into the numbers and have the discussion about it. I don't think it's egregiously like, whoa, like it's not like they gave fucking $210 million to like Zach Eflin. Then we'd be like, what the fuck? No disrespect to Zach Eflin. He's just the first pitcher that came to mind, but he's definitely not. We can all agree, Zach Eflin, not a $210 million pitcher. But with Dylan Cease, yeah, if you believe he's a frontline starter, like that's frontline starter money. Sure. Why not?
Well, I mean, what are you like? I think it might be like, here's where we can start. What are you getting or what do you expect to get from a guy when you start to entertain this kind of money? And the first thing that comes to my mind, really, I guess it's twofold, is what kind of presence and what kind of dominance are we getting? So this is a guy who over the last, 5 years, 6 years, has made every single fucking start available to him. Every single start. 32 plus starts since 2021. So he is posting. All right. That right there, there's a lot to account for that. And then from there, you can have the discussion about, well, what sort of dominance are we seeing? And we typically go to swing and miss and limiting traffic, because from a starting pitcher's perspective, the fewer base runners you have and the more people you punch out, you are alleviating pressure on the defensive side of the ball. And you also are alleviating pressure from the bullpen's perspective. So this is a guy who is giving you, I don't know what average, about 6 innings to start over these 5 years. And he's also punching tickets. So I think from a starting pitching perspective, and if you're the Blue Jays, understanding that this is part of what you want to shore up and make your strength or turn into your strength after what you have seen revealed from a young guy like Savage. Yeah, let's just go ahead and add another piece to that woodpile and feel really good about the bonfire we can start next year. And from there, we can get into the Dylan Cease compensation, the AAV, and blah, 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 blah. But from just out of the gate, you're getting a guy who is posting and punching tickets. And from there, you don't like him, you don't whatever. Okay, like if we want to get into some of, what his stuff is profiling, what stuff looks like, some of those other statistics, we can have that conversation.
Yeah, I think, you're looking at a pitcher who in 2022 was the Cy Young runner-up. Last year, 2024, finished fourth. And you're like, well, sandwiched in between 2023, 4.58 ERA, and then this season, 4.55 ERA. Okay, well,
quality starts.
If you're a FIP guy,
33 quality starts.
In the year that he had the 4.58, it was a 3.72 FIP, and then this past year with the 4.55 ERA, it was a 3.56 FIP, and he also led the league in strikeouts per nine with 11.5. So, I don't know that exactly. Are you putting a great defense behind Dylan Cease in Toronto? Like, I don't know that I would call it a great defense. We also don't know who's playing shortstop, but like, do we expect the ERA to match the FIP a little bit better in Toronto versus, I guess, the last two stops?
Well, I mean, look, San Diego is not a bad place to pitch, right?
No,
not a bad place to pitch. And that's why I said we can have the conversation about some of the other stuff, and you touched on it, the FIP, because he has not had a FIP above 3.7 since 2021, right? Or 2020, whatever, the wash of a season. But so those numbers kind of outline for you that he's been fairly consistent throughout this time period. And while some of the numbers that are impacted by other things might reflect differently, the things that he is responsible for the most part, he's done a pretty good job of keeping in check and keeping under control.
So if we're talking about, is the move to Toronto going to benefit him from a FIP ERA wise, like the advanced numbers would say that Toronto's defense was 100% clearly better than San Diego's defense last year. And if you look at outs above average, it was the 7th best defense in Major League Baseball. And if you look at defensive runs saved, it was the 4th best defense in baseball behind the Rangers, Cubs, and Dodgers. So yes, I think there's optimism there. I also think it's a lot of money. It is a shocking sticker price. I had the same reaction that Jared did when I saw the actual figures. After digesting it a little bit, I do feel like, so it's just money, right? They're not paying any other thing besides money to go out and get Dylan Cease. And Rogers has money, right? There's no disputing that. So your ownership group has the money to spend. And I'm viewing this as they are essentially reinvesting their World Series runner-up run in another piece to go and then make another postseason run or multiple runs. This is, I don't care that it's a lot of money in the sense that this is exactly how I'd want my ownership group to behave following a World Series disappointment where you came oh so close. And to what you guys just said, they identified Dylan Cease as the best possible answer to what they lacked on their 2026 roster. And do I think he's going to get back to 2022? Probably not. I also think he can and will look a lot closer to 2024 over the period of time that really matters for the Blue Jays, because this is a 7-year deal. It's really about the next 3 to 5 years, right? It's about the next 4 to 5 years, what they get out of Cease, whether they can take advantage of this window where they have Vlad Jr. under contract and all that stuff. I think it is a lot of money. It's the David Price contract 10 years after David Price, and Dylan Cease is not David Price, right? He was not that, he did not achieve that level of dominance or stardom. But at the same time, it's 10 years later, and Dylan Cease is a really, really good pitcher. Where are pitcher contracts supposed to go? A couple other random thoughts, and I just want to see if you guys have reactions to this. It makes me like the Sonny Gray trade even more. And I was already pretty big on that. If this is the price for a 2, I know they're different pitchers, but for a 2-3 type of guy that may have a little bit more, what the Red Sox gave up to get 1 year of Sonny Gray looks fucking fantastic now, as opposed to just really good, in my opinion. And he's not a fundamentally different pitcher production-wise. Obviously, they're different in how they go about it. But in the production that they achieved leading up to free agency, not fundamentally different than Max Fried, who got $200 million last year. I know it was in one additional year. To me, that's just accounting. It's not really important. And I don't know which of those guys I'd rather have, but I don't think the difference is so much where one of them is a fine contract and one of them is ridiculous. And lastly, I'm fascinated with what this means for Ranger Suarez and Framber Valdez, because both of them and their agents can look at this very clear-eyed and be like, we are better than Dylan Cease. We are just better. We have been better, and we deserve more money than Dylan Cease. And in my head, the idea of Ranger Suarez getting $200 million is maybe the most shocking free agent outcome of my recent life. Like, I can't even, if you would have told all of us, I'm rambling now and I'm going to shut up, but like, if you would have told us at the beginning of last year that Ranger Suarez would get $200 million, that would be fucking mind-blowing. And based on this contract, he can walk into any room right now and say, I deserve $200 million.
So to pivot off that, he can say that. Do you think a team will actually give him $200 million? Because I'm reluctant to believe that would happen. I don't want to doubt the man. I hope he makes every cent that he deserves, which the market is set. He deserves more than a Dylan Cease. But do you see a team being like, sure, here's $200 million for Ranger Suarez? I don't think that's coming.
And again, I don't want to get into like just keeping it very, very bland. I started out evaluating Dylan Cease and the way he takes the baseball, how consistently he takes the baseball, and what the result is when he's on the mound in terms of how he goes about getting outs. And for Suarez, the dominance is not quite there. And this is a guy who he's yet to make 30 starts in a season. And whether that's just about opportunity or, whatever, how things
he made 29.
Well, it's not 30.
To that point, though, I do think we're gonna look back on this and be like, Dylan Cease was the high water mark for offseason pitcher contracts this year. I know those guys can look at this situation and say we deserve that amount. I think this was an eye of the beholder situation to a degree. This was Toronto identifying the guy that they wanted and saying on November fucking whatever it is, we're gonna go get that guy at the price that he needs to put pen to paper right now. And I don't think, in my gut, I don't think that any team is going to feel that compelled over Framber Valdez or Ranger Suarez to put $200 million in front of those guys and say, let's sign right now.
You don't think that Framber gets that entertainment?
I do not think Framber Valdez gets $200 million, and I'm happy to be proven wrong. I think Dylan Cease is the highest, the largest compensation for that a pitcher receives this offseason.
Ooh, that's a take.
How old is Cease?
Cease is 29. He'll be going to his age 30.
Yeah, and what's Framber? 33? 32, 33?
I would have said a little younger. Hold on. He is 32. He's 32. Yeah. He will pitch this entire year at his age 32 season. Yeah.
So, how do you see Framber? How do you see Framber aging? Is probably a question. How do you see him? Is he able to continue to? I'd like to think that he can continue to keep guys on the ground the way he has. I don't know how much teams are factoring in perceived volatility when it comes to his ability to work through issues, process struggles, and blah 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 blah. I mean, I don't know that. I don't know that in the moment we all felt like, yes, what we saw with the cross up, and are teams going to shy away from that? I honestly think that's going to have little to no impact at this point in time.
Can we go back to the Cease thing for a second?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In terms of whether it's smart or whether they should have done it or whatever. If we had posed the question at the outset of the offseason, who would the Blue Jays sign that is available that would make you the most afraid if you are a AL contender going up against the Blue Jays to reach the World Series next season? Of the available people, I think Dylan Cease is either the answer or is right at or near the top, given how the Blue Jays roster looks.
And who would be the other guy that you would vault ahead of him slightly?
Are we just talking pitchers here?
No, yeah. I was talking anybody. I think.
Yeah, I think the number one answer, because I mean, like, I don't know, like, say what you want about their pitching staff, but it's their lineup that makes them them. And if they signed Alonso to DH and they could just fucking wallop you to death, like even more so, that would scare me. Like if they added Alonso to DH, I would be more afraid than the Dylan Cease signing.
Do you have somebody in mind?
Well, no, I was wondering and this was coming strictly from a pitching perspective, like is Schwarber not the guy that you put ahead of Dylan Cease?
No, if I need to word it a different way, I would rather have Dylan Cease. I agree with the Blue Jays' decision in signing Dylan Cease over Framber Valdez. I think if I am going up against one of those guys in a postseason series moving forward, and I am well aware of what Dylan Cease's postseason ERA is over 11 1/3 innings or whatever the fuck it is, then I am more intimidated. More intimidated is the wrong word. I would rather not face Dylan Cease in a postseason series if I am the opposing team. So yeah, he was the number one pitcher on my board to the extent that my board exists or matters. And I think it's a hugely impactful signing for them.
I agree. The Toronto Blue Jays still, even after adding Dylan Cease, will more than likely not open up the year as the favorites to win the American League East. But they have certainly increased their likelihood of maybe being the second. The Red Sox adding Sonny Gray, yeah, sure. But until that Bregman, Schwarber, whatever combo happens, the Blue Jays command more and more respect with each passing day. How would you grade this signing, Justin Havens?
I think it's a solid B. I think it's a B. I can't sit here and tell you that it's an A+ signing when we're talking about the level of money committed. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, it is just money. He makes them definitively better, in my opinion, in an area that I think really matters for them in a postseason series. And I would not be surprised if he was their number one pitcher this year. So I would say B+. Yeah, would be my grade.
Dallas?
I would give it an A. I would give it an A because, and I know this is like, no shit, Dallas. But the money thing becomes an issue if he falls completely flat on his face and then follows that up with another stumble of a season. And now you start to think about 2 sunk years right out of the gate, which means the opportunity to move him or get out from underneath that becomes all the more difficult. So if that doesn't happen and he pitches the way that we have seen, like, and when I say like, I'll take do I want it? No. Will I take a 4 or 5 from Dylan Cease year one if I think that I'm going to get something significantly different in that next year because he's going to be trending in that direction? Then yeah, I'll take that. And I think I call it an A because this is, again, what they identified early on, what they felt was going to give them their best possible path moving forward in terms of identifying other pieces that they wanted to add to their puzzle. I got to believe that the Toronto Blue Jays feel really good about getting this done as quickly as they got it done so that they can now start to point their direction or start to point their arrows in other directions, whether that's bringing Bo back, whether that's signing the polar bear up and bringing him home to the great white north, whatever it may be. This gives them all of the clear eyesight that they needed to finish off what is hopefully for them a postseason that does put them in the driver's seat when you open up the season next year.
So what does that rotation look like to you next year then? So you'd have Cease, Gausman, Barrios. Is Bassett factoring in? Yeah, Biebs
and Yasevich.
Yeah. So Bassett out.
Well, I mean,
he'd have to be.
I don't know.
Cease, well, I mean, Barrios, he gave a lot of money to, but he's in the last year of his contract, I believe.
Barrios?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bassett's a free agent.
Bassett's out.
Sorry, I had to double check that.
Yeah. That was, I thought you were talking like, do one of those other guys have to take a back seat? Yeah. Bassett's he's not signed up.
That's a dominant rotation. I mean, Jose Barrios is objectively probably the number 5 on that rotation. Or Bieber.
Yeah. I don't think there's any pushback here.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to the World Series essentially. I mean, he was on the injury list for the entire playoff run, right?
Yeah.
Where do you rank the Blue Jays rotation in the AL East? I bet you're basically comparing it to the Yankees.
I don't know. Like, is it not the best?
Yeah, I'm currently voting it the best.
Better than Fried, Rodon, Cole.
Yeah,
Schlittler.
I think the Yankees' ceiling, if Gerrit Cole reestablishes himself quickly and Cam Schlittler is, like the guy we saw in the Red Sox start or whatever, or builds on that type of thing, then yeah, the Yankees' rotation will probably be better. But I have my questions for the Blue Jays are on the back half of the rotation. My questions for the Yankees currently, Gerrit Cole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's a big thing. It's
like what you get from Rodon. You like what Fried represents. There's no question there. Like what does Gerrit Cole's bounce back look like?
I mean, depending on how the Red Sox choose to fill out the rest of the rotation, or what the young guys look like in the early going, you could have three of the 4 best rotations in the AL, all in the AL East potentially.
Well, I mean, is that looking like? I mean, are we going to have? Is that a Peyton Tully? Is that a Connolly Early? Is that a Garrett Crochet? Just a 3-headed left-handed monster? Is that what we're dealing with
Gray and Bayo, right? Yeah. I mean, I think that. I mean, Crochet, Gray, and Bayo, I think gives you a really solid foundation to not be overly reliant upon the 2 guys, just in terms of the conversation that we're having right now, in terms of best rotations and stuff like that. Because Garrett Crochet is objectively better than any pitcher that pitches for the Yankees or the Blue Jays. So that's a huge leg up.
Mm-hmm. It's good to have that guy. Yeah.
It's a nice deal. That's looking all right.
I'm still not 100% convinced that Bayo is going to be on the Red Sox next year.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. That's not people will clip that and be like, "Is that scoop shop?" No. I just I don't know, just a gut feeling that he could be someone that they look to move in a deal also involving a pitcher. Yeah, I could see that being a thing. The Orioles, speaking of the AL East, the Orioles signed Ryan Helsley to a 2-year deal. Jay, this reminded me of when the Orioles had BJ Ryan. Remember him?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
The money
like
was
BJ Ryan.
The money was more onerous for BJ Ryan at the time. Yeah. I mean, I think this is fascinating because Cease and Helsley are both fascinating on a level because, I think there's some portion of the baseball population that's realizing that front offices don't give a rat's ass about ERA. They don't give a rat's ass about the fact that Ryan Helsley was hot garbage with the Mets down the stretch because all of his stuff readings were as good or better than they have ever been. He was still throwing the ball very hard, and he still has individual pitches that register lots and lots of swing and misses. And all the reporting suggests that his downturn at the end of the year, where, as I said, I think over his final 15 outings or whatever it was in September, he allowed his ERA was north of 8. That just didn't matter. There were about a dozen teams in on him, I guess, and the Orioles got him. This is one of those that you got to just kind of believe in, right? Like you got to believe that the stuff returns, and we can all see what the stuff was. And Ryan Helsley's been nasty for a while. I think it's a nice signing. Like I think it's something that they needed, and the bullpen for them after being such a dominant force in 24 with Felix Bautista and Cano and all those guys was such a liability last year. And I don't think Ryan Helsley needs to return to utter dominance for this to be a net add for the Orioles. And they probably, they needed so much help in the bullpen, I think, that they needed to get one piece in the door. And this is a big part of doing that.
He was so bad with the Mets.
So bad. I mean, there's no around. The results are really bad. Yeah.
It was terrible. Yeah. It was terrible to like, sure, the performance was not great. It just sucked to watch because, like, if you're a Mets fan, you're like, that dude can help. Like, that guy's going to help. Yeah. That's going to make a world of difference for what the fuck just happened.
Yeah.
What's happening? Who is this guy?
Is he the reason why the Mets didn't make the playoffs?
Like, is this Helsley's stunt double? Like, what? This is not like, we're only supposed to get, like, ass in the shower shots. We got this dude, like, doing fucking, like, he's reading lines. He wasn't supposed to play this role.
He was very Eric Gagne.
Well, and he's on record as saying that he has reason to believe there was tipping going on and stuff like that. He allowed 4 homers in 17 innings pitched after August 5th, after allowing 4 homers in 39 innings pitched through August 5th. So like that's such a collapse where I think you as an analyst or as a viewer, you would look to one of two things, right? You would look to, is his shit just fucking toast? Like, did something happen to his arm where he's no longer the same pitcher, no longer has the same bite? Or is it something like, maybe like what Dallas identified with Devin Williams last year, where it's like, he's tipping, he's still a good pitcher, there's still material to work with here. We're going to go sign him and pay him $12 million because we get him in the door, and it's like we have the old Ryan Helsley back. And the stuff, as I said before, suggests that it's all fine. So, at $12 million a year, I think it's kind of fine to close your eyes and say he's going to get back to what he was.
Yeah, like, I'm not giving Ryan Helsley the contract that Edwin Diaz is seeking out, where it's like, 5 years for $100 million, somewhere in that neighborhood. If he were to ask for that and you had a team actually pony up and give him that, then we'd be having a completely different discussion where it's like, because even with Helsley in his dominant years, he's always been a guy that is going to walk batters. So if you like, on a lesser extent, like I used to talk about Joe Kelly, is like, he's going to walk the bases loaded, but he's going to strike 3 guys out before he walks in a run kind of pitcher. Like that was like Helsley in a sense in his prime, where it's like, yeah, like he's gonna walk a lot of guys, but he's gonna punch out the world and still get you the save. And but I don't know, maybe it was pitch tip. He was really bad with the Mets. I just remember watching the games down the stretch, and when it became more of a conversation topic on this show of, are they going to get in? And Clem being like, I can't even believe you're asking me that question. Of course they're not going to get in. And just like paying attention, like, I want to see what he's seeing. And so I caught inherently a lot of Ryan Helsley outings, and it was just like, I don't know. There has to be some credence to the tipping, because it's not just the homers. Like, he was giving up a shit ton of hits, but if you're a guy that walks people frequently when you're at the top of your game, you can't then mix in like, well, now I'm going to give up a shit ton of hits and homers and expect to have success.
Well, and we can point to most of it as being about the homers that he allowed, which I guess I sort of did, but we would be remiss not to mention the fact that this is a guy who went from striking out 39 and 35% of his batters in 22 and 23 to striking out 25% of his batters last year. And that wasn't just a New York Mets thing. His strikeout rate with the Cardinals was 26%. It was 23% with the Mets. So this was a downturn in terms of swing and miss that was happening before any sort of pitch tipping that he's claiming or that coaches are claiming happened. So there are other things that he kind of has to, quote unquote, answer for here in terms of reestablishing himself as, a high-end relief pitcher. But if the relief market, if you're the Orioles and you need a capital R relief pitcher, then if the market is Edwin Diaz and his ridiculous requests, or Ryan Helsley and we'll deal with his flaws and pay a lot less money, if I'm operating the Orioles or basically any team, I'd rather take my chances with the Ryan Helsley contract, given the nature of relief pitchers and how Edwin Diaz is likely to age over a 4 or 5 year deal at $20 million a pop.
Yeah. I mean, again, for the money, I don't hate it. I don't hate the gamble for $12 million.
No,
like, I can stomach that, but let's just say it doesn't work out, then what?
Well, then I think the Orioles are they're in trouble. They need a lot of things to go their way this year.
Well, they need a lot of things to go their way anyway, and that was really the one thing that I had to say about this is you just want to make his presence mean something.
Yeah.
That's it. Like you can sign the deal and you can look at it like we're taking a flyer on a guy with a lot of upside. Should we be able to get him back to what he's capable of doing or what you think he's capable of doing? But all that is for naught if he's pitching in meaningless games or what amount to be meaningless games because they're just not competitive for other obvious reasons.
Like if it doesn't work out with Helsley, is your next best available option Andrew Kittredge?
Yes.
Okay. Like, no disrespect to him, but I don't know if that's a recipe for success. You know?
No,
it's not.
No. And then if you move Kittredge to the 9th, then, the cascading effect that we all know with bullpens and stuff like that. They need more bullpen arms than just Ryan Helsley. But
yes.
They identified their needs to start the offseason. They have accomplished 2 of those 3 so far in the Ward acquisition and the Helsley signing. I don't know, man. I don't want to go all negative on the Orioles, but I'm just looking at this pitching staff now and I'm getting kind of sad. Maybe Ryan Helsley won't actually pitch in games that mean anything now that we're talking about it. So that sucks. What a bummer, man. What a bummer for Ryan Helsley,
Maybe he won't early and then maybe he will.
I just don't know how you compete in the AL West with Trevor Rogers, Kyle Bradish, Dean Kramer,
East.
Tyler Wells, and Cade Povich. Did I say West? East. Yeah. I know. I got the divisions down. Trust me. I do know them. That's the worst rotation in the East, I would say.
I was an individual who selected the Baltimore Orioles to win the division last year. I don't want to say window closed, but window is a little. I don't think it's closed. I think it's a little frozen. I think it's a little icy outside, and I think the window is stuck. That's what I think's happening. Yeah, I think the window.
Yeah, that's a fixed single pane window, is what that is. Like,
yeah, you're opening that window by punching through it. I think.
Yeah. Which they can do. They need There's still some pieces I like,
They need Jackson Holliday and Adley Rutschman and Basayo and Kobe Mayo to punch through that window next season.
Colton Cowser. Cowser might be outside of Gunnar, like I'm just a big Colton Cowser guy. Sorry.
He can't be your second best player, unfortunately.
What if he's a 5-win player?
He could be.
Yeah.
Not for a team that's going to compete for the AL East, though.
Yeah. I'll say this. It could be a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for a guy like Taylor Ward to get plugged into the middle of a lineup that sees some bounce back.
Sure. I think there's plenty of reason to dream on the offense still.
Yeah. Well, then that's what I'm saying. If that happens, if all the guys that we've just listed are just better, and you can say that for a lot of teams, but I think this team specifically, people understand what we're saying when we say that. Like if Rutschman is better than he was, if Cowser can develop, if you get that same thing from Basayo and Mayo, a little Mayo, Basayo, Sando, for sure.
Well, but I know you were being a little bit funny, but this is one of the few lineups in the league where you can look at basically every single player in the lineup and really genuinely believe that they are going to be better than they were last season.
Yes. That's exactly what I mean. Is it's not like you can clearly say that about every team. Man, if they were no shit. If we just win more games than we did last year, we'll be better. Yeah. Yep, that's how that works. But you know what has to happen is guys have to perform better. And you have a lineup that is primed for each and every one of these dudes to be better than they were. You would expect that because they're big leaguers and that's how it's supposed to go, is you're supposed to progress. You're supposed to be able to get better. And if you do that collectively, I have witnessed firsthand, speaking about getting better, I've watched the Athletics just get better.
Oh, man.
Individuals.
That was almost an hour.
Collectively get better. And
I
wins
can't
fall.
even believe it.
Thank you,
I can't
John.
even believe it.
Piss off.
Yeah, speaking of John Heyman, Actually, no, before we get into that, a question before we move on from the Orioles. We have this conversation about Paul Skeens, eventually you're going to have the conversation about trading him, when and where. If you can't sign him, you're going to have that conversation. How far away are we from having that conversation about like a Gunnar Henderson? Not to depress Orioles fans any further about the conversation surrounding their team, but if that's not a guy that they're going to be able to lock up, when do you cash in on the peak value of a Gunnar Henderson?
I mean, you just basically did like open heart surgery on the Civil War battlefield. And I don't know if you're familiar with how anesthetics were headed at that time. Like it just is very, very low likelihood you're going to walk away from that one. I don't know how you remove Gunnar Henderson from this group and think, oh, we should be fine.
Oh, no, that's certainly not what I would think they would be thinking. It's more just, we had our shot, we took it, we didn't do anything with it, and we're not just going to like let this dude walk. And I don't think that there's any indication that they're going to pay him what he'll ultimately be worth. So, I mean, I'm not letting a guy like that walk. Are you?
I have an answer.
I'd love to hear it.
I would hate. I've blown this guy's horn since he showed up.
Clip that one off. He tried to pivot into horn. He tried to pivot into horn, and it just didn't help. I've blown this guy's horn. God damn it.
So I have flown this individual's flag since he arrived. Fuck!
Oh man, it's so good to get a fresh one.
I mean, look, you gotta switch hitting catcher with a little power potential. Is that not a guy that you think could help maybe restock? I banged this dude.
Dallas wants Gunnar to restock his cupboard so bad right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd fly my guy down here to do me sometimes.
You got one more in you?
I'm attracted to a lot of different guys. I like to yank on him.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
The answer is this season.
This season,
this season is the defining season for this for this question, because if they are not a competitive team, if they are not demonstrating that the window still exists during this season, then we will enter the trade deadline / next season with Gunnar Henderson having 2 years of team control left, 27 and 28. So that's the hot point at which teams may be willing to really, really pay up to get him, as opposed to playing him out to the final string. Yes, D.
What if the CBA changes? What I'll be curious to see, because Gunnar Henderson, and this is all predicated on what it looks like after the fact, but if there is indeed a shortening of the control window, is it a situation where players that entered this CBA under these pretenses have to live out their windows of control?
Yeah, probably.
Right? Or do you wake up as Gunnar Henderson going,
I'm a free agent.
I'm a free agent.
Yeah.
This is incredible. Holy shit. And then the Orioles.
It has to be like a grandfathered in thing. Like,
yeah. Because
teams are going to have like their plans and whatever. Like they've got their 5-year plans for financials and all that shit.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this is so as Jay says that, well, I think it should be understood like, yeah, this is the window. This is the year for you to either see the bounce back that we're talking about, that Orioles fans hope for, and that gives them a clearer vision of what their future could look like, and maybe gives them more confidence in not only signing a guy like Gunnar Henderson, but also being able to supplement around him with maybe not as many new faces and new additions as you needed, because I think this lineup has the ability to represent somewhat of the threat that a Blue Jay lineup could potentially represent, or does represent at this point. And so where would your attention be paid then? Well, you got to get outs. You can score runs, but you got to get outs. And now with a bounce back of the lineup and the vision being clear, can you now go attack things on the pitching side? And hopefully that's what this season leads the Orioles to being able to do if you're an Orioles fan.
Well, and they're going to have to make a decision on Adley probably this year too. And he'll help make that decision by what level of performance he generates. But, he's a year earlier than Gunnar in terms of the clock here. So he's under contract for 6 and 7, again, CBA pending. But, we could see his name in trade room. I mean, we already did last year to some degree, but the bill is coming due on this era before they've really accomplished anything at all, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
The Anthony Rendon contract may have come to a merciful end. There is talks between Team Rendon and the Angels to buy out the final year of this contract so that he can finally just ride off into the sunset. And I love Kevin Pillar, but he was like, he's just really misunderstood. He's not misunderstood. We understand him perfectly. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't love the game. I don't think, like, when you have the I guess the mindset of, well, like, my family is more important, like baseball, like my family's more important than baseball, whatever. It's like, yeah, sure. Okay, fine. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna be like, what an asshole to prioritize his family over the game of baseball. But Anthony Rendon was someone that openly just said, I don't give a fuck about this. This is just a job to me. I don't love it. I don't have passion for it. I just happen to be good at it. And now I'm here. That's when fans sort of soured, even outside of Anaheim. Like, I feel like there were baseball fans that were pissed off on behalf of Angels fans because, like, if one of my players talked the way that Rendon did after the money that he received from the team, without doing anything, like, you didn't prove, like, you didn't win a World Series. You won a World Series for the Nats. You didn't win a World Series for the Angels. It's the same thing. Like, I was in a similar situation with fucking Pablo fat ass Sandoval on my team when he showed up and said, I don't have anything to prove. Like, he showed up to camp fat, coming off the worst year of his career in his first year with the Red Sox, and then said, I don't have anything to prove. It's like, yeah, because you did all of that with the Giants. We don't give a fuck what you did with the Giants. You just got $95 million from the Red Sox. So, like, yes, you do have something to prove. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know Anthony Rendon. He's a good guy, whatever. Like, maybe I'd like him. But I'm just saying, I understand the Angels fans' frustration with him, with, like, his attitude, not beyond just the bad performance, not living up to the deal. It's the attitude about it afterwards. If he was someone that was like, man, like, I just, like Trevor Story, perfect example, was hurt the first 3 years of his contract, and you could tell it was killing him inside. Like, he wanted to be on the field. Part of his decision to opt in after having a great year with the Red Sox was, man, I feel bad that I didn't deliver anything in those first 3 years. Like, I feel like I owe it to you guys to stay here for the money that I originally agreed to. Like, I'm not saying everyone has to be Trevor Story, but you also don't have to be Anthony Rendon either. And so, well, yeah, I think this kind of just draws the end to undoubtedly the worst contract in baseball history. I don't think that there's a debate. I don't think that we throw 2-3 other contracts into the conversation and, compare and contrast and weigh the negatives of the other deals from a numbers standpoint or an off the field standpoint. Like, this was
the worst contract in baseball history.
Worst contract in baseball history, point blank, case closed.
Yep. Yeah. I there is zero argument for, like, it's it's like living in a place where it's perpetually summer and you're the ice cream man and you're getting paid well to slang ice cream. And you're like, you know what? I fucking hate ice cream. I fucking hate summer. I don't like any of this. You're going to have a hard time making friends living in that town. Because there's a lot of people who enjoy summer there. There's a lot of people who enjoy ice cream there. And they're looking at you getting paid all of this money to bitch about selling ice cream in the summer. You're going to have a hard time finding finding people to sympathize with whatever it is. And I'll say this, not defending anything. This is, I always just try to maintain slices, chunks, and at times just slivers of perspective. And I think that's what this is here is, let's not forget that this is a guy who essentially had his career sort of, I don't want to say toyed with, but there were issues in terms of his health that probably weren't handled correctly. And he suffered because of that. And from that point, there are decisions to make. Do I want to let this be the thing that tips the scale and just is the straw that breaks the camel's back? And you know what? This is kind of why I didn't like the business of this whole thing, because I got hurt and look what happened. I get dicked around. I get misdiagnosed. Like I'm just like, what do you want me to do? You already know I'm a dude who doesn't like this shit. And now you're going to mess around with it. Like, nah, buddy, I'm out. You signed me up for this and you sent me down this path. So we're going to walk this path together. Hold my hand.
And that's why I'm open to like the Pilar comments about him being misunderstood. I don't think he's misunderstood in the sense that he loves baseball and we all just don't know it, right? Like, I think that part, he said what he said, he acted the way that he did. I think that's probably a fair characterization of Anthony Rendon's passion for baseball. But I think we know at this point that the Angels are so wildly dysfunctional in just about everything that they do that if you just put yourself in Anthony Rendon's shoes, it is very, very easy to come to the conclusion that he just was fucking fed up with this team and was not going to jeopardize his actual long-term health to help a team that was not helping him, and that really...
Or helping themselves.
Yeah, or helping themselves, or had any chance to do anything at all during the time where he was, rendered physically unable to play. That being said, we all know the Angels suck ass, and that's a huge part of this conversation with Rendon. But to Jared's point, this ended like it used to be kind of a fun, barstool conversation as to like, hey, who's the worst contract in baseball history? Like, oh, I think it's this guy. Well, it's this guy. But no. It's like there's no fucking conversation anymore. It's just, it's Anthony Rendon, man, because he got paid $245 million to just not fucking play baseball. And it's like, well, it can't really be any worse than that. Like, I didn't have the numbers off the top of my head, so I went and pulled them while Jared was talking. Rendon produced 3.9 wins above replacement for $245 million, okay? Remember Albert Pujols and how bad that contract was and how everybody couldn't stop talking about how bad that contract was? 12.5 wins above replacement is what Albert Pujols contributed to the Angels during that awful contract. Now, that's, of course, very bad for $252 or $242 million, whatever Pujols got. But it's it's almost 4 times, but definitely 3.5 times more than what Anthony Rendon contributed during his contract. It is magnitudes worse than any other contract of its scope in baseball history. And I hesitate to say that we will never see a worse contract, but I do feel reasonably certain that we will never see a contract of this magnitude where the player contributes so little. There may be players who have to play and are worse because they have to keep playing because the contract is so long, but I don't think we'll ever see somebody whose total contribution was as close to 0 as this.
And you know what I'm really curious about is I would love to just hear what the conversation is between Rendon and Boris when Boris is like, all right, so this is the number they come back with. And Rendon is like in his garage or out in his yard or whatever, doing whatever the fuck he's doing. And he's like, so Scott, I'm owed 38. Huh? Are they at 38? Okay. So then, no, I think I'll probably like, what do they need me to do? What do I have to do to not have that voided? I have to just show up. I've got that down. I can do that. I can do that. So yeah, Scott, unless they're at about 37.5, maybe 37.7, like I don't know if we're going to see eye to eye. Like I really want to know what that is, because if you do harbor any sort of ill will about your physical capability moving forward or feeling like you got cheated out of an opportunity to, Who's to say that Anthony Rendon doesn't deep inside feel like, you know what, man? This was my opportunity to fall in love with baseball. I had all the money I needed. I was told that we were going to be competitive and we'd be year in and year out trying to do our best to be in the postseason. And when I got here, it became very clear that I was fucking lied to. So you know what? I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to tell them the truth. I am not interested in being bought out. You will pay me my $38 million. I will be a cancer in the clubhouse if you're going to have me in there, because anybody that asks me anything about how shit is run here, I'm going to be painfully and brutally honest. Do you want that around? Oh, you don't? Are you now all of a sudden a little more excited to just send me home with the $38 million? Because that's also an option, guys. That's how you can buy me out. You can literally buy me out of your spring training clubhouse. You can buy me out of any sort of mingling with the future players in your organization. That's what you can do, because I have not forgotten how I was treated. I have not forgotten what you did to me, and you're going to pay the piper. Maybe that's part of the conversation too. I would love to hear what that sounds like.
Yeah, I would too. But it's just, yeah, what an awful end to, like when Jay said that his WAR was in the positives, I was shocked. Like I thought he was going to have a negative WAR for the whole duration of the contract.
So nobody cares, and nor should anybody really remember. But his first season with the Angels was not he only played 52 games, but he was really good in those games. Like he slashed 286, 418, 497 with a 150 OPS plus. And obviously he only played 52 games because it was the COVID season, but nobody remembers that. He finished 10th in the AL MVP. And then 2021 to the present, he was just basically non-existent. So he was able to avoid the negative.
I've said this many times, but I would love to go back into the archive to get our reactions. I bet you let's see, Angels sign Anthony Rendon. I want to say it was during the winter meetings, December 16th, 2019. All right, let's see if I can go back in my archives to find our reaction to it.
It is just insane to think that over a 5-year period, he produced one season's worth of productivity.
Yeah.
And again, there's a lot that has to do with his ability to even be on the baseball field. So it's not about him just being completely awful at baseball. There's still a lot to do with his physical ability to go out and play baseball.
Yeah, that's too bad, man.
That's crazy.
Shout out to Anthony Rendon, one of the greatest to ever do it. Was that not 2020?
Yeah, 2020.
Well, it was 2020 season, but 2019 pod, you're saying?
Yeah. Well, when did he sign? Did he sign?
It was 19 going into 20.
No, but I mean, was it in the calendar year of 2020? And maybe
I thought
that's
Jared
where
just said it was December of 2019.
Yeah, it's December. Yeah.
Like what would? All right, let's throw a number out there. What number do they settle on? $38 million due to Anthony Rendon.
I think it's a situation where it is the whole you've got to pay for everything.
I would fucking love to see that play out. I want Anthony Rendon wearing an umbrella hat sitting in the fucking stands at Tempe Diablo Stadium in fucking, oh my God. Oh my God. Just what of the heyday that the media will have with that.
I don't see it. I have your reaction to Cole to the Yankees.
Jared, it's a Christmas tree. Christmas came early for somebody in the AL East. It is not the Red Sox. Contrary to popular belief, stockings are red. The only thing in a Red Sox stocking this year will be Cole. Not Garrett Cole. He's going to the Yankees. 9 years, $324 million doll hairs, as J.A. Kidd likes to say. Thoughts on how the AL East is going to shape up? Not excited about it? That's all we've got from Jared Carabas at this moment in time. I'm glad that Garrett Cole is no longer going to be in the AL West. Let's go, Oakland. Hate to see that you're a Sox fan. Pinstripes looking nice right now. One player away, and they got him. Merry Christmas from the starting 9 crew.
And then in the background, Jimmy from John Boy is like hammered, celebrating with like a glass of wine, like behind Dallas. He's like, yeah, he's making a bunch of great points.
Oh, what a time.
Great times, man. Great times. Well, I don't know. I guess we'll never know how we felt about Anthony Rendon at the time. I'm pretty sure we thought it was great. Yeah, why not? This is also when I believe the Strasburg contract was handed out. It's like within the same 24-hour window. The extension.
I mean, that would be, if you were going to craft an argument for a contract that was worse, I think you would have to go with Strasburg. And it doesn't make anybody happy to say that, but I think that's if you want to be cold and analytical about it, that would be the contender, because I guess he's the one who delivered even less than Anthony Rendon. You just have the sentiment.
Those two deals were handed out within 24 hours of each other.
You just have the massive asterisk next to Steven Strasburg that he fucking won them a World Series like a month before signing the contract and left it all out on the fucking field. So that to me matters when discussing the worst contract in sports history. But shout out Steven Strasburg.
Shout him out. There was a very scandalous Mets article that was written. I'm not going to call Clem, because he's going to see my name pop up and he's going to be like, what the fuck?
This son of a bitch.
Francisco Lindor and Jeff McNeil had a confrontation last season on June 20th in Philadelphia. After a defensive lapse, Lindor began verbally attacking McNeil, leading to a standoff between the two, according to a source. Lindor and Juan Soto also clashed personalities. I saw a couple of Mets accounts posting clips of plays that could have been during that game. Neither were egregious in terms of what the fuck are you doing? Nothing was worth a blow up. So that feels like it was sort of a compounding built up thing that maybe led to something where they used it as an excuse to, blow up on one another. That
often
happens.
Something minor.
Yeah,
often
I think
something minor that leads to that.
Yeah. Because the plays in question weren't like, what the fuck? How could you fuck that up? It wasn't anything like that. And I don't know. I mean, I think the fact that Lindor and Soto aren't buddy is first of all, you don't have to be. Case in point, the 2002 Giants, Barry Bonds and Jeff Kent hated each other. Not that they won the World Series, but they probably should have. Two MVP caliber players that went out and did their thing, and it is what it is. You don't have to be buddies. But they're two Lindor is more out there and outgoing, and Soto's more to himself and wants to hang out with his family. That's fine. At the end of the day, they're two great baseball players in the same team that are helping that team win baseball games. So I don't know. Is it a non-story to me? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, what do you glean from this? What's the takeaway? That guys didn't get along?
I think the takeaway is more fans need to accept that their favorite players probably aren't besties.
Now, is there, remember all, and I bring this up just because when I think about this, there's I guess two ways to look at it. There's a common denominator here, and it can be viewed from one or two perspectives. One, we remember the words that were exchanged between Lindor and McNeil early, right? So this is a second account of that? Is that what this is?
Yes.
So there's two instances between McNeil and Lindor. There's now, we're tying in something between Soto and Lindor as well.
But like nothing specific. It's just like, oh, they don't,
right.
They're not buddies. Like, okay.
And J.A., the fucking
Kipnis.
Second baseman for the Guardians. Kipnis, thank you. I knew you knew where I was going with this. Jason Kipnis had been in the past, not vocal, but he had stated that, there could be some issues with maybe some of your favorite players that you know. So now it's Lindor being a part of this sort of storyline multiple times and in two different locations now. One perspective is it's Francisco Lindor that is demanding more of his team. It's Francisco Lindor understanding what sort of leadership role he serves and the leadership presence he could serve, and not being okay with some of the shit that he's seeing. Or the other perspective is, man, does he have an issue with everybody he plays with? Not everybody, but is he incapable of getting over these things? Like, what perspective do you choose to view this from, I think, is really whether or not it becomes a story or non-story for you. And I think for me, having been in a big league clubhouse for as long as I give a shit less.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is much closer to a non-story than it is a story. I think this is an example of where playing in New York is different than playing elsewhere, because nobody gives a rat's ass about this story if it's not the Mets. Or it's not Soto and Lindor in the headlines. I don't know Francisco Lindor as a person. We're not friends. I genuinely believe, from the limited perspective that I have, that Francisco Lindor is a winner. I believe that he is a person who advances the cause for a baseball team and is somebody that I want on my baseball team, and has done a lot more winning in his career than he has done losing, while playing for both small and large market teams. I think Jeff McNeil is kind of a red ass, and I think Jeff McNeil has now been caught up in enough of these things where I'm looking at him and the role that he's playing in the locker room, and frankly, what sort of player he is, because I just don't think that I think it is fucking unfair that Francisco Lindor keeps getting dragged into this stuff when I don't think Jeff McNeil is given this sort of visibility in a situation that is not the Mets or not New York, and for a player that performs at his level. Nobody gives this air. Nobody gives this any helium at all, or any oxygen at all. And it's a little annoying to me. And I think the Mets need to move on from Jeff McNeil, because I'm just not sure what the point of all this is.
I think the clickbaity part about it being like the Soto aspect, the story is just like, Lindor likes fashion and Soto's more business-like. He just shows up and does his thing. It's like, that's every team.
That's it?
Yeah,
right?
That's every teim. There's, you're going to have like a pair of stars that just like don't have the same personality, but there's still like, there's no issue here. Maybe it could have been taken as a slight that Soto referenced Starling Marte as the team captain in like later down like this in the second half. It's like, did Lindor like take that as a slight because he thinks he's the team captain? Like this is fucking high school shit. Like, who cares? Like, it's like, it would be one thing if the Mets organization named Francisco Lindor the team captain, and Soto was like, yeah, but Starling Marte is my team captain. Then it's like, all right, that's a little bit disrespectful. But for Soto to say that Marte is the team captain, it's like, all right, I feel like the fans kind of recognize Lindor as that person, but the fans aren't in the clubhouse. Like, Soto is, and he sees it, and maybe Marte is that guy. Who cares? Like, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, just feels a little chippy.
They called it, the word they used was, the relationship was chilly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, and And I know Dallas drew the line between this conversation now coming up with Lindor multiple times in multiple locations, Kipnis and McNeil. I mean, I don't think the Juan Soto stuff is anything in this story, but this isn't the first time Juan Soto's been dragged into a clubhouse, chippiness, sordid conversation. I mean, that was going on in San Diego as well. So I don't know. To me, this is more about, this is the last thing I'll say. I think this is more about who the media chooses to focus these sorts of things on, the type of leaders that they choose to identify and not identify, than it does anything that Francisco Lindor or Juan Soto is doing.
Yeah. But that is a good point, though, that outside of his time with the Yankees, that drama kind of follows Soto a little bit. Not to say it's his fault. I think a lot of it could be like a jealousy thing. Like he shows up in San Diego, he goes about his business a certain way, and everyone's talking about, like, when the second that he gets here, are you going to sign this extension? How much money is it going to cost? And this and that. And then you've got some strong personalities in that clubhouse, and they're not going to make what Soto ultimately made. So I'm not even saying it's necessarily his fault. I think it could be a professional jealousy type thing too.
I think there's probably a lot more of that than people think.
Mm-hmm.
And Lindor, the contract looks small in comparison to Soto's now, but Lindor got paid out immediately upon coming to the Mets too. And, maybe what you're saying about Soto existed for Lindor, 4 years ago or 5, whenever that contract was signed.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, I see here in the rundown that the Boston Globe is being credited with Kristian Campbell playing winter ball. I believe that news was broken on Section 10. That's the most Milliken move of all time. I'll literally tell him a fucking story, and then he'll cite fucking Chris Cotillo and John Morosi. I'm like, I told you that 3 days ago. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a name. I mentioned Brian Bayo earlier. Would it surprise you at all if Kristian Campbell was involved in a trade? Like, where the fuck does this guy fit?
Well, let me put the question back to you. Are you okay with moving on from Kristian Campbell? Like, if he is part of a deal for, I don't even know what caliber of player he's functioning as the heart of a deal for. It's a very complicated. He's a complicated asset, I think, to value right now. Are you okay moving on from him, given the level of hype and expectation that we had entering this season, and that some people still have?
I would say the phrase "moving on" to me implies like it's not working, so like get out of here.
No, you're right.
Think for me, if he's involved in a trade where a guy is coming back, like, I don't know, like I don't think that this is going to happen, but let's just say, use it for example. If he's in a Vinny Pasquantino trade, if he's in a Joe Ryan trade, then I'm like, all right, yeah. Like, it's more just, I view him as someone where, you've got Sedon, you've got Roman, you've got Willier, Duran, I guess. I don't know where he fits in. Like, fans have already kind of like moved on from him. And then Kristian Campbell, it's like no one's even like considering him as an outfielder, and it clearly did not work as an infielder. So yeah, like it's kind of just, where do you fit? Like, there's nowhere for him to fit. It's not moving on. Like, I think he could go to another organization and be great. But like, where the fuck, like, who are you bumping out for him? They still have to bump out an outfielder already, not even accounting for Kristian Campbell, to accommodate Roman Anthony.
Well, I just think I cannot think of another example of a guy who was a universally regarded elite prospect who signed a long-term extension as quickly as he did, and then is in this netherworld so quickly after signing the extension and being as hyped as he is. Like, I'm not off on Kristian Campbell. I'm not out on him. But if you're an acquiring team, it's just a complicated conversation to have. Like, if you're the Royals. Kingery? Yeah. But nobody ever put the prospect tag on Scott Kingery that they put on Kristian Campbell in terms of where he was ranked on all these lists and stuff like that, and the type of player he could become. Like, if you're the Royals and you're engaging with the Red Sox on a Vinny P trade, putting aside the fact that trading offense for the Royals is trading away offense is a complicated thing anyway when they are so desperately in need of offense. But if you're looking at Campbell as an asset, you're like, this guy could be simultaneously vastly overpaid and an albatross on some level, or he could end up vastly underpaid and on a contract that we in our market would love to have him on. And you just don't know. And that's why it's like, I don't know. It's fascinating. I think it's fascinating. I'd love to get him on Cleveland. That's probably not a fit in terms of trade, but that's a guy that I would love to see have a second life somewhere if the Red Sox don't have room for him.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there are Red Sox fans probably listening to this being like, what do you mean you don't have room for Kristian Campbell? It's like, where?
Well,
where?
He's not
where
even,
does he fit?
He's not even listed on the depth chart.
Yeah.
Like, this is a minor leaguer you should know.
Yeah. The other thing too is like Massa. What the fuck are you gonna do with that? You know, like, yeah.
Kristian Campbell want to come take some licks in West Sac?
Yeah, sure. I feel like that'd be a great fit. I'm not.
Oh man, adding him to that young offense. The problem is you guys don't have any fucking pitching to trade. So
yeah.
No, I'm not even going to put names on anybody's fucking radar, but that is just not true.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys have people who are slotted in as pitchers as their position to trade. You're right.
Yeah.
We have filled out a roster.
You have live bodies. Congratulations. Yeah. Anything else you guys were dying to hit on? I know. Jay Hay included the Phillies and Schwarber were not close on a deal. I did see Passan is posting on Threads these days. Like he's posting unique content on Threads that he's not posted on Twitter.com. Let me see. Let me pull this up. What he said.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. Schwarber, the bellwether of the class. Schwarber's market is healthy. He's going to get years and he's going to get AAV. And at this point, he might be the likeliest of the big free agents to sign first. Unclear if something gets done before the meetings, but I'd be surprised if they end and he doesn't have a team. The Phillies remain the favorite with Boston, Cincinnati, the Mets, and others in the mix. So he thinks that there's a chance that Kyle Schwarber could have a home by the end of the winter meetings here.
Cincinnati would be fun.
That would be interesting. Whoa.
Adam Dunn?
Cincinnati.
Not that Philly's ballpark isn't conducive to homers, but putting him in the Great American Small Park could be kind of fun.
Oh, God.
Great American Small Park. Man.
I'm going to say he doesn't sign by the end of the meetings. We'll have this conversation again Thursday, but I'm saying here today, Monday.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be intriguing. He's not a Boris guy, right? No, I don't think so. Is he? I don't think he is. No, he's not. He's not. He's not.
No?
Yeah, I've met his agents, and they're not. I've confirmed that they're not Scott Boras. Yeah. Anything else you guys really want to hit on?
No.
Can we spin the wheel for MVP and Cy for Thursday?
We sure can.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Let's see here. We got to do some drafts too.
Yeah, hell yeah. I want to do those so bad.
You, Justin Havens, will be doing the MVP for... Okay. I feel like we've done 85. Have we done 85?
Sorry, you just cut out. Sorry, or I couldn't hear you. What happened? What'd you say?
I said 85. Have we done 85?
Ooh, 85.
Nope, 85? We did not do 85. That's Don Mattingly and Willie McGee.
Okay.
Willie.
Don Mattingly and Willie McGee.
That's actually super relevant too, because obviously with Mattingly on the Contemporary Hall ballot will be kind of a fun opportunity for us to walk through Don Mattingly's career, which obviously gets overlooked at times. But this was a year where he drove in an MLB leading 145 runs and won the MVP with 23 of the 28 first place votes. So that'll be fun. There are statistical cases to make for multiple other players, like high level cases to make for multiple other players. So that's going to be really fun.
You're going to be knocking a couple times, pal.
Yeah. Well, I think Dallas is going to really want me to knock for one guy in particular too, but we'll see whether that happens. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of both dudes.
Yeah. Well, fair. Fair. And then in the NL, Willie McGee won in a year that Dallas is also probably going to feel pretty passionately about, because you might remember 1985 as being a particularly good Doc Gooden season. So we're going to walk through the 85 MVP. I'm fucking pumped for this one. This one's going to be good.
Yeah.
Big time.
Come on with it, Jay.
I mean, Doc Gooden's season is one of the greatest pitching seasons in Major League Baseball history.
That's fucking incredible.
Maybe the best. So we get to talk about it. I'm
incredible.
Family Feud returns on Thursday, along with the 1985 MVP revisit with Justin Havens.
Yep.
So we had this discussion offline about doing the streams this morning, and there's like a schedule conflict. I still say we do it Thursday.
Okay, I can go Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, like if everyone like, we're not going to be able to coordinate everyone's schedules because of the holiday season and all that. But Dallas, can you do Thursday?
Yeah, I should be able to do Thursday. I got to go to Vegas tomorrow. But yeah, I'll be back.
All right. So me, you, Jay, like, we can get, at least us three can stream on Thursday. I say we just do it Thursday.
Great. I'm in. Is Jake going to pick the game? Are we going to run the wheel at the start like we talked about?
Yes. I say we go live. We have a master key, and we have how many games would you say are on the master key, Jay?
I think I pulled about 60 or 70 games.
Okay. So let's have the key. We'll pull the number, and then we will all in real time find out which game we're watching.
This is so fucking exciting.
Yeah.
I'm so ready to go. Could be any game.
Could be any game. It could be any game. We just don't know.
We don't.
Yeah, but we'll find out Thursday night. What time do you want to tell the people?
I'd love it if we could do like an 8 o'clock start.
Yeah.
7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. DB, I mean, he can let us know what works on the West Coast, but something like that makes sense, I think.
What did you say, 8 o'clock?
Yeah, 8, something like that.
Yeah. Because I mean, I'm on the West Coast. We can't keep you guys up till fucking 10 to start a goddamn game.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you have any nugs, Justin Havens?
I do. Cease and Helsley focused. The only qualified starting pitchers who had a higher strikeout rate last season than Dylan Cease were Tarek Skubal and Garrett Crochet. He had the highest right-handed pitcher strikeout rate. Obviously, as you can guess, the guys right after him, Paul Skeens and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They're pretty good. Dylan Cease's strikeout rate rank by season since 21. 5th, tied for 8th, 5th, and 3rd. The highest whiff rate on an individual pitch for the 2025 season among all those pitches where at least 1,000 pitches were thrown. Dylan Cease's slider at 42.8% was the second highest whiff rate. The only one higher was Christopher Sanchez's changeup. Also noteworthy because number 3 on the list is Kevin Gausman's splitter. So the Blue Jays now have 2 of the 3. In terms of 1,000 pitches is a lot. So these pitches generating that level of whiff rate on 1,000 pitches is pretty impressive. Dylan Cease's 16.1 wins above replacement ranked 6th from 2022 to 2025 among pitchers. The guy right in front of him, Framber Valdez. See what kind of money he gets. The guy right behind him, Sonny Gray. Continuing on, Ryan Helsley. Oh, yes, we've got Helsley nugs as well. He went from allowing 3 homers and 266 batters faced, that's a 1.1% homer rate in 2024, to a 3.2% home run rate in 2025, so his home run rate tripled. As I said before, through August 5th, his ERA was 2.77. After August 5th, it was 8.47. That four-seamer, we talked about a little bit with Sonny Gray in terms of things that the Red Sox may say bye-bye to in his arsenal or de-emphasize. Batters hit .422 against Ryan Helsley's four-seamer in 2025. .422. Batters have gone from hitting 150 to 224 to 276 to .422 against his four-seamer. You might be wondering for some context. That .422 is the highest batting average allowed by any individual pitch type that were thrown at least 400 times last season, and there were 519 such pitches. And not only is it the worst, it's the worst by 43 points of batting average. The highest batting average allowed on an individual pitch last year, for context, it was Helsley's .422. Bradley Blaylock's four-seamer was the next worst at .379. The good news is that while his fastball may have sucked ass, his slider, it still generates good results. The lowest WOBA allowed versus an individual pitch type in the 2025 season with a minimum of 400 thrown. His slider was the sixth lowest at 170. The only pitch types better: Mason Miller's slider, Andres Munoz's slider, Garrett Crochet's sweeper, Logan Gilbert's splitter, and Noah Cameron's curveball. And then just to end the note on a negative, or end the pod on a negative note, to follow up on the Rendon stuff, the Angels paid Anthony Rendon and Josh Hamilton a combined $370 million and received 6.6 wins above replacement. If you add Pujols to that mix, they paid those three $610 million and received 19.1 wins above replacement, and those are the Nugs.
Jesus Christ. Jay Hay basically said, hey, if you're an Angels fan, I hope you had a shitty Thanksgiving. Go fuck yourself.
Man.
That's bad.
That is bad.
Yeah. It's too bad, really, because, it's not like they don't know, but now everyone knows. That almost makes it worse.
It does. It does. It's just nobody, they are the gold standard for giving out completely worthless, massive money long-term deals. Nobody does it like they do. I didn't even include CJ Wilson. Didn't even include Gary Matthews Jr.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like if you shit your pants, like you already feel bad enough that you shit your pants, like it's awful. But then when everyone finds out that you shit your pants, it's just a whole different level of awfulness.
You know what's worse, though? Is that I didn't even factor in the second half of Mike Trout's contract.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not good. It's not going to end up looking good. Yeah. Yeah, you're a demon today, Jay.
Yeah. Oh, I said I was ready to fucking pod today.
Wakes up and chooses violence daily.
Fuck yeah. Mondays are all about violence.
It's like with great power comes great responsibility. Like, Jay sometimes uses his power responsibly, but sometimes he uses it for evil.
Very irresponsible.
Today was evil, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll be back on Thursday, so we'll have a chance. Yeah.
I did have final thoughts.
Oh, go ahead.
And it's I guess poignant, but it's necessary. I know we just went through Thanksgiving, something we always do at our table, and it's just to try to, again, give our children perspective on the lives they have, the lives they lead. We have an incredible, dedicated fan base, and I had an opportunity this year to be brought into the S10 world, to Section 10 world, and had a fucking blast. Love every minute of the reception that I got, that Jay Hay got, just watching the fans gravitate towards you guys and really towards each other. And I had the opportunity to connect with a lot of different individuals. And one individual who was going through a very tough time at the moment, his name is Kyle. He lost his mother. And I want to say that to even be on somebody's radar, to feel like you to feel like you have a place where you can make a difference. And I know we get sidetracked a lot thinking, man, we're just talking baseball. We're just having fun. It's so much more than that. And at times I am guilty of losing that perspective because I do get caught up in the other stuff I have to do, the family stuff that I'm responsible for. And having been somebody who unfortunately has felt that loss very early in life, I have been able to gather perspective throughout the rest of my years. And I just want to remind folks, and especially during the holiday season, how tough it can be with family you have, with family that you don't have. It is always okay to not be okay. There are people who care. There are people who genuinely care, and they don't have to be friends. They're just people who give a shit about other humans and their experience on this rock while we're here. And I want to let Kyle know, as I did earlier this morning, you're not alone in this, man. And if you are somebody who has experienced loss or is experiencing loss, especially during this tough time, remember, it's not that you're now living life without them. It's that you have an opportunity now to live life for them. And that's never easy. And shit does not get easier at times. It gets worse at times. But there is a light. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And if it's turning on a podcast for 10 minutes or 2 hours or running around outside by yourself or just pondering, take that time and do that, because your heart, your soul, it deserves to heal, and it deserves to be loved, and you deserve it. And I don't want people to think that we turn the camera off and we're just done. Everything that you hear from Jay Hay, everything that you hear from Jared, especially during the ad reads with BetterHelp, and everything that I'm sure you hear Tyler and Coley and Steve talk about, and Jake and Jeremy, everybody, you're loved, man. We care. You're not just people who subscribe to a podcast and remain faceless and nameless. That's not the case. So during a season where it's tough, please remember, you are loved, you are cared about, you are considered, you are seen, and you are not on this journey alone. And Kyle, keep your head up, my dude. And you can reach out at any time, man, day or night, just like you did. You'll always have somebody to listen. And that goes for anybody who feels like for whatever reason, or any of us, I don't want to speak for them, but if you feel like they can make a difference, don't wonder what would have been. Reach out, make that phone call, send that text. Let somebody know you love them today.
Well said, Dallas. I got the chance to meet his mother. She was a wonderful person. For what she was dealing with at the time, you'd never be able to know. Like, her spirits were very high, and she was very, very nice. And thankful I had the opportunity to meet her. Rest in peace. And for everyone else that's listening, same goes for everyone. We're here for you guys. You guys are the reason why we do this. So, all right, we'll be back on Thursday.
Wow.